All right, guys, welcome back to week 2 of our Whiteboard series. This time what we're going to be going over is more in-depth look on nutrition. We talked about last time, there's 3 main pieces. If you're struggling from working out 3 times a week and you feel like you still can't lose weight, this is a lot of people in the gym industry right now. They're working out, they're putting in all this work at the gym hours a day, and they're still either not losing weight or just getting the results that they want. If you want to learn more about that kind of overview view, the last video that we made goes into that and kind of talks about it as a whole, but today we're going to break down the main piece. And the main thing we talked about is body composition, right? So in the last video, we decided that hormones were kind of the #1 indicator or the change maker of your body's composition. And that, for just about any gym or even a nutritionist, or dietitian, is going to be kind of out of their scope. So that's not in scope. That's something for a doctor or a primary care physician, someone that can look into that stuff for you and see if those numbers are off, whether it's testosterone, estrogen, any of those pieces. That's really beyond your scope and what your responsibility is at the gym to work on. So let's jump into the next thing. The second part that has the most effect on your body's composition, whether you look more muscular, more lean, you've lost weight, anything that those people call and refer to as like aesthetic changes, that is going to be primarily affected by nutrition, right? So we're going to break that down into 2 pieces today. But as a reminder, the #3 thing that affects your body's composition is working out. And most people, when they walk into a gym, they're ready to start working out. They're just not ready to start working on nutrition, even though working out is only the 3rd most important piece out of these 3 things on this hierarchy. So once again, #1, that belongs at a doctor's office. It doesn't belong to you. That's someone that really needs to be a professional that's trained in that area to work with you on. But #2, #3, a gym can help you. We can help you with that. So #2, quality, then quantity. When you're looking at nutrition, you want to think quality of nutrition first, and then the quantity of that nutrition second. Today, we're going to focus on #1, which is the quality of your nutrition. Like all good things, you have to build the base before you build anything else, right? So the base of your nutrition, the foundation, needs to be the quality of the food. Shame on you if you put a brick house with a terrible foundation. It needs to have a strong foundation, right? So don't build the walls, don't build the roof of the house until you have that foundation first, or you're always going to be battling trying to get the results that you want to get. You're going to have yo-yo dieting. You have results, they go away, they come back, and this cycle just repeats over and over again for 6 months, a year, maybe your whole life, right? So let's look at quality. Quality is #1, right? What does that even mean? So if we come down here and take a look at it, the #1 most important thing is quality. Basically, we want to look at whole foods, right? So, okay, we've probably all heard that terminology before. That's also the name of a grocery store chain that's pretty popular. What is a whole food? A whole food is minimal, refined, and processing. So let's take a couple of examples. Let's look at a cheeseburger, okay? Or yeah, a cheeseburger is perfect. If you go to a fast food restaurant, the burger that's there has a lot of refining and process to it, a lot of chemicals, a lot of preservatives are put in there, a lot of man-made pieces are put into that burger in order to make it last for a long time. So the more of those that are put in there, the more we see obesity rates go up. Whether it's the US or other countries, we're all dealing with this issue. Foods that have more pieces into it, it's kind of common knowledge, foods that have more man-made pieces put into it have a negative impact on our body's composition, right? And very few people are out there on Instagram or Facebook talking about fast food diet being the way to a 6-pack or to lose 20 pounds, right? Well, there's a reason for that, because that's not how you do it. You can't lose 20 pounds that way, safely, sustainably. So minimal refinement processing. We got the burger that's from a fast food joint that has a lot of chemicals in it. The meat that was in there, the beef, is going to have a lot of refining and processing. It's a cheaper meat. That meat probably had a lot of hormones in it. There's a lot of stuff going on with the bread. The bread's going to have a lot of enriching and bleaching and stuff like that. And that's how they make those foods cheap, and they sell them to us cheap. But when you put that cheap fuel into your body, you don't get good results. You get cheap results, right? So let's look at the kind of down the spectrum a little bit, right? A more whole foods burger might be something that you get from the grocery store, right? So you go buy some 90-10 ground beef. You mash it up, you make a nice little patty, you grill it on the grill, you put it on a normal bun, right, in your, for the burger. That has so much less refined and processing, right? Move down the spectrum even more. Let's go more extreme with it. You buy organic grass-fed ground beef. And I know this costs more money, but there's more results with higher quality food. You buy organic grass-fed beef. You take that, you mash it into a patty, you grill that on the grill, and then you have some homemade bread with minimal refined and processing. You toast that, you put it on a bun, and now you have a burger. So you have 3 different burgers. If you took each one of those burgers after they've been cooked and you put them on a table and you were just to sit there and watch them for a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, a year, here's what it would look like. The ones that have a lot of refined and processing, they wouldn't look that much different. They're not going to degrade because they have so much preservative and chemical in it. The one in the middle that's got a little bit of refined and processing, it's going to degrade, but it's going to degrade way, way quicker than the highly refined and processed one, right? Take the organic one, the organic grass-fed beef and the homemade bread. You put that on a table for a week, it's going to be weird colors and smell funny in 1 week, whereas the refined and processed one is not going to do that. So that's just an example of those chemicals and those things put into the food is really going to slow down the process of it degrading, and it's really bad for our system, and it does cause people to have trouble losing weight. So that's the first thing you got to wrap your mind around. You want to stay away from foods that have a lot of refined and processing. So where are those at? Not to throw any businesses under the bus because they're just a business like anything else, but any of your fast foods are going to be highly refined and processed. Any of your restaurant foods are going to be pretty refined and processed. So really the only way to get this done is to either shop at a restaurant that is serving organic meals, which is really hard to find, although they do exist. There's some meal prep companies in this area that do a great job. Or you cook at home, right? You go get groceries from the grocery store. Now, it doesn't have to be always organic groceries. It just needs to be stuff that's bought from there that doesn't have a ton of refined and processing that the restaurant and the fast food chain suppliers have in them, right? Because you could have 2 burgers and they look the exact same, but one has all that refined and processing and the other one does not. These 2 burgers are going to act differently in the body, and one, the high refined and processed one, is going to affect your body composition in a negative impact. The low refined and processed one is going to impact your body in a more positive composition aspect. Weight loss, muscle gain, leanness, stuff like that. So that's a big thing you got to wrap your mind around when you're thinking about food. Without understanding that first, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle all the time, trying to lose weight with calorie counting and stuff like that. So let's wrap our mind around that for a second. Whole process, minimal refined and processing. Okay, so I'm going to the grocery store. I want to buy some stuff that's more whole food oriented. Well, how the hell do I do that? Shop on the perimeter, right? Shop on the perimeter of the grocery store. So think when you come in, my wife and I shop at H-E-B. When you walk in to the left, all the vegetables are on the side. All the fruit is on the side. As you keep coming around, you're going to go into the seafood section. You're going to go into poultry and ground beef and turkey and stuff like that, all on the perimeter. Those things have low refined and processing because they require water to be sprayed on them daily in order to not decompose. They need to be refrigerated to not decompose because they're going to go quickly. They're going to sell. They have to sell those, and they're going to decompose if they don't sell, and they'll spoil, and we can't eat them, right? So you want things that are going to decompose, right? A box of Oreos, delicious, but they can stay on the shelf for weeks, months, years, and they look the exact same, right? That they're not going to decompose. Highly refined process and not, right? Keep going down. So you got your poultry, you got your ground beef, all that good stuff. You got eggs down in the end. You got everything that's pretty much on that basis of whole foods, for the most part, right, is going to be on the perimeter of the grocery store. So if you're shopping there and you're staying out of those aisles, you're probably buying a lot of whole foods, right? Next piece, 80-20 rule. Eat this way 80% of the time because we have kids, we have birthday parties, we have Christmas parties, we have Halloween parties. There's going to be opportunities where you should have the piece of cake or have a piece of pizza. You should never just eliminate all these things from your diet, right? You want to be able to go out to eat with friends and family members. You don't want to just get rid of all restaurants ever for the rest of your life, right? So if you do an 80-20 rule, it kind of gives you a nice social balance there too. So if you look at that on just a basic template, let's say you eat 3 times a day, which some people eat more or less, and you have 7 days a week, that's 21 meals, right? So what that would mean, if you're hitting the 80% rule, that means about 15 or 16 of your meals need to be from the grocery store. So let's think about that. That would leave you 4 or 5 meals, or whatever that is, that you could go, maybe get fast food one time, maybe go out to a restaurant twice, and then you still got one in the tank that you could use during that week that you still be living by the 80-20 rule. So if you're taking a look at inward and looking at your diet and going, okay, what's going on with my diet? Why am I not losing weight at the gym? Ask yourself, are you living by the 80-20 rule? Are you eating out at restaurants and fast food more than 20% of the time? Because if you are, you're missing the quality piece. There's just no way around it. There is no fast food and restaurants, even if they make delicious food that has high quality from a refined and processing standpoint, right? They're all going to be very refined and processed. It's part of their business. So, once again, quick recap. If you're wanting to work on your body composition, and you're in the gym 3 times a week and you're like, wow, what's going on? Or maybe it's 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and you're still gaining weight, take a good hard look at your diet, because it's the second most important thing and you have control over that. And focus on the quality of the food first. Whole foods being number 1, minimal refined and processing. Perimeter of the grocery store. So, okay, I'm going to buy these healthy foods. Well, what is a healthy food? Shop mostly on the grocery store, on the perimeter of the grocery store. You're going to be in good shape. You're going to get most of the good stuff. Do this 80% of the time. Like I said, leave some room for you not to be perfect. Leave some room to have ice cream at a birthday party with your friends and family, right? 80% of the time, though, if you do this, you're going to see some changes in your body's composition, even if your workouts are staying the same. Cool. So until next time, we'll go over part 3 on the Whiteboard series. We're going to dive more into nutrition. We went over quality today. Next time, we're going to talk about quantities. Well, how much of these quality foods should I have? I mean, that's a factor too, right? If I have too little, it's not enough. If I have too much, it can still be too much. But right now, if this is you and you know you're not hitting that 80-20 rule, start with the quality. Focus on that first. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.